So the first speaker up this afternoon is somebody that couldn't be more proud of, and that is the Honorable Congressman from District 1, Congressman Frank Mrvan. Give it up.
Thank you. So today, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump brought the circus to Indianapolis. They brought the circus to Indianapolis in the chaos. And why did they do that? Because they are afraid of checks and balances. And they are afraid that they know that their policies have hurt individuals. Their bill, for the first time in the history of the United States, steals money from the working class and gives it to the wealthy. Their bill cuts Medicare and Medicaid and health care coverage, a program that's designed to heal people when it comes to health care and mental health. But instead, it gives tax cuts to the most wealthy and the biggest corporations. And what they're doing also to our veterans is absolutely cutting funding. As a member of Congress, we passed a bill which was the Honor the Pact Act, which increased health care for veterans, which increased service-connected disability to hundreds of thousands of veterans, men and women who served our country. They cut that. There'll be longer lines in the health care for the VAs. There will be longer call times for suicide prevention. There will be longer times for veterans to see specialists. And so why are they here today? Because they're afraid of checks and balances. So the Vance-Trump team also in healthcare is going to cut federally qualified health centers. What that's going to do is if you are employed and you have a high deductible and you go there for a sliding scale and you can't afford healthcare, you will have more risk. Our emergency rooms are going to be fuller. There is factual information that rural hospitals are going to be cut and there's going to be less access to health care because of the Vance-Trump administration and they're passing their bills. So they are afraid. They are afraid to face the voters, so now they want to redistrict to do that. Make it perfectly clear, it isn't about me as a member of Congress, but as a member of Congress, what I have done is I've stood up for union labor and making sure that they have a good job. And I've done that with the fierce passion of understanding that no one in that administration is. I'm going to use one case in point. They gave up our greatest asset in U.S. Steel to an unfriendly competitor that breaks our trade laws. And in that executive order, when Trump gave his word to the United Steelworkers, I have your back, he turned his back on them. And how he did that is he cut the ability to collectively bargain in the executive order to the steelworkers. That's what you get with this administration. I fight hard for the steelworkers, for the steel industry, and for fair trade. And I want to make sure our domestic manufacturing continues. In our state of Indiana, they cut a contract to AM General, $1 billion contract that is a Humvee manufacturer by the UAW workforce, the longest workforce UAW in the history of the country. They cut billions of dollars because they want to take away a Humvee that protects our warfighters and put them in a golf cart-like battle place that will not protect our warfighters. They are diminishing our domestic manufacturing and taking away American jobs. So here we are. What is their plan? They're afraid of checks and balances. They are afraid of the polling that they see, and they want to redistrict things. So it's not about me, it's about the voice and the people that I represent. It's about making sure that we create work and wealth, that people have access to health care and mental health, and that union labor is be able to up all the different ships and be able to provide a good wage, a pension, and health care, and that our young have a future in education. So everyday people, the activists, you should be concerned. But parents taking their kids back to school, they're not concerned about this. This is political. This is political. The teachers who have to pay to be able to decorate their classes, this isn't on the top of their list. But the voice that we have in Washington and the impact, the negative impact that they have had on our country, eliminating due process, that's only a tragedy if it happens to you or your family. And it's coming for a lot of people. eliminating due process, eliminating women's reproductive rights. That is not right. I have 2 daughters. I want to make sure that they're equal in the United States and in Indiana. So here's the bottom line. My father served in this Senate for 40 years. I don't have a lot of confidence. I know very confidently, and I believe humbly, that this is a done deal. That this is a done deal. And what I want to say is, no matter if Governor Braun bends a knee to Vance and Trump, it isn't going to increase his prospect of being a president of the United States. And I'm going to give him a little bit of political advice. No matter what you do to bend a knee to that organization, your lieutenant governor is still going to run to the right of you, right under your nose. And so in this House, what you have going on where they close session, if you are a mayor, if you are a county commissioner, if you are a councilman or a township trustee, they cut your public funding for police and fire by 80%. Call them for their special session to make sure your voice is heard. They could take that up too. They could fix defunding police and fire, and they can fix to make sure that people's utility bills that have skyrocketed 40% are addressed, and their car insurance. Bottom line is the voters and everyday people in Indiana and across America believe in bipartisanship. This will not change me. I have example after example after example that I've worked with Governor Holcomb, Governor Braun, and other U.S. senators. I have had an open door policy. The American Rescue Plan brought in billions of dollars. They wash that money, they call it ready money, and they will brag to you that they have created hundreds of millions of dollars of economic development with funds that I voted for and they voted against. They have taken opportunities such as a new energy plant in my district and taken away that tax credit. That's 16,000 construction jobs to my building trades of Northwest Indiana. So they've tried to erase history. They've tried to do everything they can to intimidate. I ask the state legislatures and the moderates of Indiana and those who believe in checks and balances in our government to stand up to them and not to bend a knee. And I am Frank J. Mrvan. And no matter what district they put me in, I will fight for working class people. I will fight for a fair education. I will fight for access to health care and Medicare. And I will not allow our most vulnerable populations to be left behind. God bless America again.
Give it on up again for Congressman Frank Mrvan from District 1. Following that greatness, we have another great congressman from the state of Indiana, and that is Congressman Andre Carson, Congress District 7.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, friends and family, brothers and sisters, to the state reps and state senators who are here. We thank you for all that you do. To our brothers and sisters of organized labor, we thank you for all that you do. You know, 60 years ago, the United States passed the Voting Rights Act. A law to give me the right to vote, a law to give many of you the right to vote, a right that is sacred, a right that is non-negotiable, a right that is ours, not theirs to take away, but a right that is ours. A democracy belongs to the people. And the people are making their voices heard. We will not accept our state being cut and spliced and maneuvered for a wannabe king in Donald Trump. We won't accept our democracy to turn into a dictatorship. We won't accept calculated and intentional strategies to silence Black voters, Latino voters, Asian voters, progressive voters. In other words, American voters. Friends, this is a civil rights issue. This is about our right to free speech. This is about our right to vote. Now, J.D. Vance obviously was unclear about the irony that existed in him coming here when yesterday was the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. Well, now today they're trying to take us back by disenfranchising Hoosier voters. Our fight for voting rights, it's not in the past. It isn't in the future. It's right now. It's right now. Attempts to silence our vote exist right now. We want our Republican friends to do the right thing. You know, before 1965, we looked at poll taxes. It was literacy tests. And today, it's a president who wants to redraw our districts 5 years early. 7 out of 9 seats in Congress just isn't enough. Now they want all 9. Let's do some fact checking. The Constitution that they uphold to divine status is very clear. It requires a census every 10 years to count every person in our country, and a redistricting, reapportionment every 10 years to reapportion districts fairly, to allow citizens to reelect their representatives. All of the ways that Donald Trump has already hurt our country, 2016 to 2020 included. And believe me, this is arguably one of the most devious and fascist presidencies in the history of our country. Let me be clear, this has never been done before by either party. No party has ever attempted to change districts early solely to gain more power without a reason other than they're afraid of you and me. He's counting on us to not pay attention. He's counting on us to be distracted by not releasing the Epstein files and trolling Americans each and every day. Distractions. He doesn't think that you and I can make a difference, but I'm here to tell you the power is with you. The power is with the people. We the people. We're not just one person. It's us together. When you feel frustrated, when you feel hopeless, when you feel discouraged, just remember the sheroes and heroes of 1965. The leaders of the civil rights movement. They started out as ordinary Americans. Ordinary Americans who did not know the mark they would leave on history just like you. They didn't know they could make a difference until they did it. And fellow Hoosiers, 60 years later, even longer than that, freedom fighters have changed our country. It's our turn. It's our turn to fight for freedom. Don't be discouraged by those who tell you we aren't making progress. We have a woman as chair of our state party. That's progress. We have the first black woman who's the chair of the Marion County Democratic Party. That's progress. We got Frank Mrvan representing as a gladiator up in the first. That's progress. And you got a brother who happens to be a Muslim who also happens to be the dean of the delegation in Indiana, the home of the Klan. That's progress. It is our turn to call out this power grab. We don't need a dictatorship nationally, statewide, or locally. You don't need somebody coming to rescue you. That's not the Hoosier spirit. We rescue one another as Hoosiers. We pull each other up. A rising tide lifts all boats in Indiana. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to fight at the polls. We're going to fight in the General Assembly, and we're going to fight in Congress. The revolution isn't far away. The revolution is now. The revolution is here. Let's get them. Let's fight. And speaking of fighters, all the way from Bloomington, someone I appreciate, admire, and adore, and she's fighting with our wonderful Democrats here in the Statehouse. I can remember coming here with my grandmother as a child and seeing her and others do the work of the good fight. And in that vein, she's a fighter. It's not about her, it's about her constituents, and it's about Hoosiers. Let me introduce to you another fighter, Senator Shelli Yoder.
Thank you, Congressman Carson. I'm Shelli Yoder, once again, Senate Democratic leader here in the Statehouse. But I'm not here just as a senator. I am here as a mother. I am here as a neighbor. I am here as a fellow Hoosier, and as someone who knows a bully when I see one. And let's be clear, what's happening in Indiana today is the most dangerous political scheme this state has seen in a generation. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not wrap it in spin. This is not democracy. This is cheating. Donald Trump is losing, and he knows it. Perhaps we could say he's losing it. So what does he do? He doesn't campaign harder. He doesn't offer better ideas. He tries to rewrite the rules again. This morning, Vice President J.D. Vance came to this building not to listen to Hoosiers, not to fight for working families, not to solve problems. He's here to rig Indiana. Not because the people asked for it, not because it reflects our values, but because they are terrified of something bigger than themselves. You, the voters. They're not afraid of Democrats. They're afraid of democracy. They're afraid of what happens when you wake up and fight back. Because here's the truth. Donald Trump didn't deliver for working people. He cut our insurance, our health insurance, slashed food assistance to children, raised taxes on everyday Hoosiers, and gave billionaire donors yacht-sized tax breaks. He didn't drain the swamp. He built a luxury hotel on top of it, staffed with lobbyists and liars who would do anything to protect his power. And now he wants to build and protect this swamp, not by earning your vote, but by silencing it. Let's be crystal clear. They're not drawing new lines. They're erasing people. This is political fraud, a premeditated attack on your vote, on your voice, on our futures. Let's look at the numbers. Indiana votes roughly 60% Republican statewide, but Republicans hold 78% of congressional seats, 75% of Statehouse seats, and 100% of U.S. Senate seats. That's not representation, that's rigging. And even Governor Braun admitted to it when he said, "Our representation doesn't reflect Indiana." And in this, he's speaking truth. So is he fixing it? No. He's inviting Trump's team in to cheat harder, to screw Indiana even further. So let me be honest with you. This is not about drawing me out of office. This is about drawing you out of power. If you're a Republican who believes your vote should count, they're cheating you. If you're an independent who wants fair government, they're cheating you. If you're a Democrat tired of being gerrymandered into invisibility, they're cheating you. This is not about right versus left. This is about right versus wrong. This is power versus the people. And they're scared. They've had control for decades. And what have they done? Here in the Statehouse, they've killed relief for families drowning in medical debt. They've let insurers raise premiums and deny health claims. They've slashed school funding, raised property taxes, and gutted Indiana's best college access programs. They can't win on their record. They can't win on their vision, so they cheat. And that's what this is really about. They are afraid of what happens when Hoosiers demand action. They are afraid of what happens when Hoosiers demand accountability. They are afraid of the truth, because truth is not partisan. Truth is power, and they can't redraw that. You can lie, you can cheat, you can redraw every district in this state, but you will never redraw the truth. You will never redraw the people. And this is bigger than Indiana, because what they're doing here, they'll do everywhere. This is not a crisis just in our state. This is a national alarm bell. And if we don't rise up now, they go further tomorrow. If we don't draw the line here, they will redraw all the rest. But let me tell you something about Indiana. We are not compliant. We are not erasable. We are not redrawable. We are the firewall. Let me hear you say it. We are the firewall. So to the people of Indiana and to the people of this country, no more rig maps, no more stolen seats, no more cheating to win, because they may try to erase districts, but they cannot erase us. We are the people. We are awake, and we are coming for what's ours. Not someday, not in theory, right now. So give it up for fighting for Indiana and being our firewall, not just for Indiana, but for this country. And it is my great honor to introduce our next speaker, a true fighter for Indiana, also my House member, House Representative Matt Pierce, all the way from House District 61. Give it up.
Before I begin my remarks, I just want to relay from Minority Leader Phil Giaquina in the House that he regrets he cannot be here today because of prior commitments. Now, we are facing something that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. We have a president in President Trump that is clearly running scared. He fears the voters. He fears the people, because it's pretty clear that the people are not happy with his policies. What has the president done? He's raised costs on families all across America by placing import taxes on almost everything we buy. He's passed legislation to take health care away from millions of Americans and many Hoosiers. And his policies are going to lead to more children being hungry. We can do better than that. And the voters are going to make that clear in 2026, and that's what scares President Trump. He's become weaker every day, less popular every day. More and more people understand that it's all about President Trump and it's not about them and what's needed to make their life better. So what does a scared president, afraid of the voters, do? He comes to First Texas and he says, give me 5 seats because we're going to lose without those. Go ahead and just redistrict now. Take those seats. I deserve them. Now, 2 days ago, that looked like a battle far off in Texas, and we were supporting our colleagues down there, using every tool they had to try to prevent this from happening. But it was kind of a thing in a far off state. And 2 days ago, that battle landed right here in this building. And so we have to decide what we as Hoosiers, what we as elected officials are going to do now that we face this possibility of mid-decade redistricting. We definitely need the fight, no doubt about it. So the first thing we have to do is make clear to Governor Braun that he must not bow down to Donald Trump and call this special session. He must stand up for democracy. Governor Braun, I call on you to say no to cheating. I call on you to say no to rigging the districts. Governor Braun, I call on you to say no to Donald Trump. Now is the time for us to rise to the occasion. We now have to have everyone across the country coming together to stand up for our democracy. This is now a national fight, and we're in the fight right here in Indiana. Those Democratic states that have power, they must get in the fight too. They must make clear that they will not stand idly by and allow the Republicans to steal this election. If the only way the Republicans can maintain control of the U.S. House of Representatives is to maraud across the country, stealing seats out from underneath members of Congress, they don't deserve to have that power. And if they manage to pull this off, if they manage to cheat and rig the districts and win only because they didn't follow the rules, they will not be a legitimate Congress. And that's what will undermine our democracy. Because when the people watch this Congress that perhaps could be elected through all of this activity going out to these states, they're not going to respect those laws that are passed by Congress. They're going to be extremely frustrated with the fact that their will is not being expressed by their elected officials. And that is going to cause people to lose faith in their government. We are in a fight to save our very institutions of government. We cannot allow it to happen. And I pledge to you that the Democrats that serve in this General Assembly, in this building, will not forget who we represent, and we will fight with everything we have to stop this power grab. And I hope all of you and all of your friends and neighbors will join us in this battle and make clear to the people who hold power in this building that we will not stand for it. It's now my great honor to introduce the Reverend David Greene, Sr., who is president of the Concerned Clergy of Indianapolis.
Good afternoon, everyone. I stand here today not just as a pastor, not merely as the president of the Concerned Clergy of Indianapolis, but as a citizen who deeply believes in the sacred promise of our democracy, that every voice matters and every vote counts equally. Now, before I begin, allow me to honor and recognize Karen Talion, the chairwoman of the Democrat Party. Can we give her a hand? Now, Vice President J.D. Vance has arrived here in Indianapolis for what Governor Mrvan described as broad conversation. He emphasized on yesterday that no commitments have been made at this point. But let's be clear. This is no ordinary political visit. It's part of a nationwide push stoked by the current president and national GOP leaders to redraw congressional maps mid-decade. What's the aim? To lock in a partisan advantage, dilute dissenting voices, and shift fair representation in favor of incumbents and power brokers. They are coming for our two congressmen. No. I urge Governor Braun not to call a special legislative session to withdraw congressional maps. Doing so would require taxpayers to foot the bill while Hoosier families endure budget cuts and layoffs. It would undermine transparency, fairness, and the integrity of our constitutional process. As the late Congressman John Lewis reminded us, the vote is the most powerful nonviolent tool we have in a democratic society. We must use it. But how can we use our vote when maps are manipulated to weaken black political power, split our communities, and erase our influence? This year does mark 60 years since the Voting Rights Act of 1965. 60 years since brave men and women bled on the Edmund Pettus Bridge so that black voices could not just be heard, but be counted. And here we are in 2025. We're watching efforts to reverse what they marched for, not with billy clubs and hoses, but with mouse clicks and map software. Let's be real. This is an attempt to silence the black vote without ever closing polling places. It's a modern-day redlining of representation by cracking and packing black communities. Those proposed maps will mute our voice in Washington, steal the megaphone from communities already fighting for economic justice, for quality education, for police accountability, and for equity in health care and housing. This is not just a policy, this is personal. These are our neighborhoods, our schools, our futures. Redistricting must not become a weapon used to silence Black, brown, and the working class communities who already fight tirelessly to be heard. Gerrymandering isn't just political, it's a moral violation of democracy. We're better than political maps that benefit the powerful. We deserve maps that reflect the people of Indiana as we truly are. So I call on every person of faith, every legislator with a conscience, and every citizen who believes in democratic values. Reject partisan redistricting. Demand transparency. Demand fairness. Demand public input. We must make a demand. I stand here today because I believe that democracy belongs not to strategic map makers or to the political elites. It belongs to the people. And we will not stand silent while it's carved up behind closed doors. Let me end by saying, we've marched too far to be mapped out of our future. We've prayed too long to be redrawn into powerlessness. And we bled for the ballot, and we won't let it be buried beneath backroom deals. 60 years later, we still believe. The struggle continues. The lines will not define us. Our voice will rise. Our vote will stand. We refuse to be pushed out. We refuse to be silent, and we will resist. Thank you.
Thank you, Hoosiers, for being here, listening, showing up. We are just getting started. We are just getting started, and we have to take this message to every neighborhood throughout this great state. As you've heard, Hoosiers and Americans are angry. We have been lied to by the president, by those who are cheating to protect him. And we will not stand by when they try to insert more crony DC politics into our state. Their cheating will not work here. We are the firewall. This concludes our press conference, and each of our dynamic speakers will be available to answer questions individually. But thank you for coming. Let's keep up the pressure and never back down from the fight. Thank you.